In the lush lowlands of southwestern Iran, the Elamites built a powerful kingdom centered at Susa. They developed their own writing system, Proto-Elamite script as early as 3000 BCE, built monumental zaras, and created stunning artworks in metal and clay for centuries. Elam was a rival to Mesopotamia. Great empires, Sumer, Aard, Babylon, and Assyria. The Elamite language was unique, unrelated to any other known tongue. Their capital, Susa, would later become a jewel of Persian kings. The Medes, Iran's first empire builders, c. 728 550 BC. While the Elamites lived in the lowlands, Iranian-speaking tribes, the Medes and Persians migrated onto the plateau. The Medes united the Iranian tribes of the northwest and established the first Iranian empire with its capital at Ekbatana, modern Hamadan, by the late 7th century BCE. The Medes, allied with Babylon, crushed the mighty Assyrian Empire. They ruled a vast territory from eastern Anatolia to the borders of India. The kings developed a feudal-style administration that would later inspire the Eid Cyrus the Great, r. 559, 530 BCE, in 550 BCE, a vassal king of the Persians. Cyrus II rebelled against his Median overlords, and he united the Persians and Medes into a single force. Over the next 2 decades, Cyrus conquered the mighty kingdoms of Lydia, with its famous King Crus and Babylon. In 539 BCE, he ended Babylon, not as a conqueror, but as a liberator. He famously issued the Cyrus Cylinder, often called the First Charter of Human Rights, which proclaimed religious freedom, repatriation of deported peoples, and an end to forced labor. Cyrus's empire stretched from the Mediterranean to Central Asia. He died fighting nomadic tribes, but his legacy was profound, a model of tolerant, centralized rule over diverse peoples. Darius the Great, in the height of power, 522-486 BCE. After a brief period of chaos, Darius I seized the throne and reorganized the empire into 20 provinces, satrape, each with a governor, a military commander, and a system of spies, the king's eyes and ears. He built the magnificent ceremonial capital at Persepolis, with its grand staircases and reliefs showing all subject peoples bringing tribute, daria, standardized weights, measures, and law. He introduced the gold direct coinage. Most importantly, he built the royal road, a 2,700 kilometers highway from Susa to Sardis, with relay stations for swift communication. This network allowed messages to travel in just 7-9 days. Under Darius' Zoroastrianism, the ancient monotheistic religion of the prophet Zoroaster became the spiritual backbone of the monarchy. Though other religions were tolerated, the empire's motto was, "Truth equals righteousness is my joy." The Greco-Persian Wars, 499-449 BCE, Darius crushed the Ionian Greek revolt, but failed to subdue mainland Greece. His son Xerxes the first launched a massive invasion in 480 BCE, winning at Thermopylae, but losing the naval battle of Salami. The defeat at Plata, 479 BCE, ended Persian hopes of conquering Greece. Still, Persia remained the dominant power for another 150 years, using its wealth and diplomacy to play Greek city-states against each other. The decline and fall to Alexander, 330 BCE. The last Achaemenid King Darius III faced the new threat, Alexander of Macedon. In 334 BCE, Alexander crossed into Asia Minor and won 3 decisive battles, Granicus, Issus, and Gag. Darius fled and was later killed by his own SRAs. Alexander burned Persepolis, reportedly in a drunken rage, and married a Persian princess trying to fuse Greek and Persian elites. But his empire shattered after his death in 323 BCE. Seleucid Empire, 312, 63 BCE. Alexander's general Seleucus took control of Iran and Mesopotamia. Greek cities were founded, and Greek became the language of administration. But the Seleucids never fully controlled the Iranian plateau, especially the east. The Parthian Empire, Iran's resilient revival, 247 BCE, 224 CE. A nomadic Iranian tribe, the Parthians, led by the Assasid dynasty, gradually conquered the Seleucid lands. From their capital at Ctesiphon, near modern Baghdad, they created a decentralized feudal empire. The Parthians were superb horsemen, famous for their Parthian shot, firing arrows backward while pretending to flee. For nearly 300 years, they fought the Roman Republic and Empire to a stalemate. At the Battle of Carrhae, 53 BCE, they annihilated the Roman army and captured the general Crassus. Parthian art and architecture blended Greek and Iranian elements, but their weak central control eventually led to decline. Ardashir I and the new Persian Renaissance. In 224 CE, a Persian priest king named Ardashir overthrew the last Parthian king and founded the Sassanid Dynasty. He proclaimed Zoroastrianism as the official state religion, built a centralized bureaucracy, and declared himself king of kings of Iran and non-Iran. The Sassanians saw themselves as the heirs of the Achaemenids. Golden Age under Shapur I and Khosrow I. Shapur I 240-270 captured the Roman Emperor Valerian alive, a humiliation Romans never forgot. Khosrow I Anushirvan, the immortal soul. 531-579, reformed taxation, promoted philosophy and science, and welcomed refugees from the Byzantine Empire, including Neoplatonic scholars. He built a vast library and a hospital at the Academy of Gundashapur, a center of learning that preserved and advanced medicine, astronomy, and logic. Sasanian art is spectacular. Rock reliefs of kings on horseback, silver plates showing royal hunts, and the magnificent Tak Kasra, Arch of Ctesiphon, the world's largest vaulted brick structure. The exhausting wars with Byzantium. For 400 years, the Sassanians and Romans, Byzantines fought almost continuously. The last great war, 602-628, brought both empires to the brink of collapse. The Sassanians briefly conquered Jerusalem, Egypt, and Syria, but then Emperor Heraclius counterattacked and sacked Ctesiphon. Weakened and bankrupt, neither empire could face the new force rising from Arabia. The fall of the Sassanians. In 632, the Prophet Muhammad died, and the Arab Muslim armies burst out of Arabia. In 636, at the Battle of Al-Qadisiyah, the Arabs defeated the Sasanian army. By 651, the last Sassanian king, Yazdegerd III, was murdered, and Zoroastrian Iran fell. For many Iranians, this was a catastrophe. But Islam did not simply replace Persian culture. Instead, a centuries-long process of synthesis began. The Umayyad Caliphate, 661-750. Arab supremacy. Under the Umayyads, Islam was an Arab ruling religion. Non-Arab converts, Mawali, faced discrimination. Many Iranians converted to Islam but resented Arab domination. Revolts broke out, often using Persian messianic ideas. The Abbasid Revolution, 750, Persian influence rises. The Abbasid family, with heavy support from Persian armies and administrators, overthrew the Umayyads. The new caliphate moved its capital to Baghdad, built by Persian engineers. Persian bureaucrats from the Barmakid family ran the empire. Persian literature, court etiquette, and administrative techniques became standard. This was not an Arab victory. It was a Persian-Arab partnership. As the Abbasid Caliphate weakened, local Iranian dynasties reasserted independence. The Tahirids, 821 873, first autonomous Persian dynasty under Islam. The Safarids, 861 1003, rough warriors from eastern Iran. The Samanids, 819 999, greatest of the Persian Renaissance dynasties. They made Bukhara a center of learning and patronized the revival of new Persian language using Arabic script. Under the Samanids, Ferdowsi began composing the Shahnameh, Book of Kings, a 50,000-verse epic poem that retold Iran's pre-Islamic history and became the cornerstone of modern Persian identity. The Seljuk Turks, 1040, 1040. The Seljuks were nomadic Turks who converted to Sunni Islam and built a vast empire. They rescued the Caliph in Baghdad and defeated the Byzantines at Manzikert 1071, opening Anatolia to Turkish settlement. Under the brilliant vizier Nizam al-Mulk, they built a system of madrasas and promoted Sunni orthodoxy, but they also patronized Persian culture. The poet Omar Khayyam wrote his Rubaiyat, and the philosopher al-Ghazali reformed Islamic thought. The Mongol catastrophe, 1219-1258. Genghis Khan's Mongols swept through Iran, destroying cities, slaughtering populations, and breaking irrigation systems. The last Khwarezmian Shah fled and died. Then Hulagu Khan, grandson of Genghis, sacked Baghdad in 1258, ending the Abbasid Caliphate. Millions died. Many historians call this the worst catastrophe in the history of the Middle East. But the Mongols soon adopted Persian ways. They converted to Islam and became Ilkhanids. Under Ghazan Khan are 1295, 1304, they rebuilt cities and patronized Persian history. Rashid ad-Din wrote a world history after the Ilkhanate collapsed. Timur, Tamerlane 1370-1405, a Turkic conqueror from Central Asia, unleashed another wave of destruction, building grotesque pyramids of skulls, yet also patronizing art in Samarkand. Shah Ismail I and the Twelver Shia Revolution. In 1501, a teenage Sufi warrior, Ismail I, defeated the Turkic tribal confederations and declared himself Shah. He made Twelver Shia Islam the official state religion and forced the mostly Sunni population to convert. This was a radical act. It gave Iran a unique religious identity, distinct from its Sunni Ottoman and Uzbek neighbors. Shiism also provided a legitimizing myth. The Shah was the shadow of God and a representative of the hidden Imam. Shah Abbas the Great, 1588, 1629, Golden Age. Shah Abbas moved the capital to Isfahan and transformed it into one of the world's most beautiful cities. He built the Naqsh-e-Jahan Square, second largest in the world, the blue-tiled Sheikh Lotfullah Mosque, and the Grand Bazaar. He reformed the army, introduced gunpowder weapons, and defeated the Uzbeks and the Ottomans. He also encouraged trade with Europe, especially England and the Dutch. Isfahan became a crossroads of the globe. Armenians, Indians, Jesuits, and merchants all thrived. Carpets, silk, and miniature paintings reached new heights. The fall of the Safavids. After Shah Abbas, weak rulers and conservative clerics led to decline. In 1722, Afghan tribes invaded and sacked Isfahan. The Safavid dynasty collapsed. Aga Muhammad Khan united Iran. After decades of chaos, a brutal eunuch chieftain, Aga Muhammad Khan Khaja, reunified Iran. He moved the capital to Tehran, then a small village. But the Qajas never created a strong central state. The great game and loss of territories, the uprising, massive protests broke out in 1977 and escalated in 1978. On Black Friday, the 8th of September 1978, the army killed hundreds. That was a turning point. In January 1979, the Shah fled. On the 1st of February 1979, Ayatollah Khomeini returned from exile in Paris to a delirious welcome of millions. The hostage crisis, 1,979, 1,981. In November 1979, radical students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and took 52 Americans hostage. They demanded the U.S. return the Shah, who was dying of cancer in New York, for trial. The crisis lasted 444 days, severely damaging Iran's relations with the West. The Shah died in Egypt in July 1980. A new constitution, Velayat Efaki, a referendum approved the Islamic Republic. The constitution created a unique hybrid, an elected president and parliament, but with a supreme leader, a senior cleric, holding ultimate authority, commander-in-chief, control over the judiciary, military, and state media. Khomeini himself became the first supreme leader. Saddam Hussein, the secular dictator of Iraq, saw Iran's revolutionary chaos as an opportunity. He invaded in September 1980. The war became a bloody 8-year stalemate with trench warfare, chemical weapons, and human wave attacks. Iranian child soldiers clearing minefields. Hundreds of thousands died. In 1988, Iran accepted the UN-brokered ceasefire. Both sides claimed victory, but the war left Iran devastated. Khomeini's death and the era of Khamenei, 1989 present. Khomeini died in June 1989. The Assembly of Experts chose Ali Khamenei, then president, as the new supreme leader. Khamenei lacked Khomeini's religious authority, but he has since consolidated power over all key institutions. The reform era, 1997, 2005, President Mohammad Khatami, a moderate cleric, won a landslide on a platform of civil society, rule of law, and détente with the West. He established press freedom and local councils, but the supreme leader and hardliners blocked most reforms. Several reformist newspapers were closed, and allies were arrested. Ahmadinejad and the nuclear crisis, 2005-2013, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, a former Revolutionary Guard commander and hardline populist, won the presidency. He increased social spending, but also presided over sanctions because of Iran's nuclear program, which Iran insists is peaceful, but the West fears weapons. He infamously called the Holocaust a myth and questioned Israel's right to exist. Massive protests erupted after the disputed 2009 presidential election, the Green Movement. The regime crushed them harshly. Rouhani and the nuclear deal, 2013-2021. Hassan Rouhani, a pragmatic cleric, defeated hardliners. He negotiated the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, in 2015. Iran curbed its nuclear program in exchange for lifting sanctions. For a few years, the economy improved and international business returned. In 2018, President Trump unilaterally withdrew the U.S. from the deal and imposed maximum pressure sanctions. Iran responded by reducing compliance with the nuclear deal. Economic misery deepened. Women, life, freedom, the 2022-023 protests. In September 2022, Mahsa Amini died after being arrested for improper hijab. Mass protests erupted across Iran, unprecedented in scale. Protesters chanted, "Woman, life, freedom, burned veils," and demanded the fall of the Islamic Republic. The regime responded with lethal force. hundreds killed, thousands arrested, and several executions. The protests died down after months, but the regime's legitimacy has been deeply shaken. The situation today, 2026. As of 2026, Iran remains under Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, now in his late 80s. No successor has been formally named. Presidential elections brought another hardliner, Ebrahim Raisi, until his death in a 2024 helicopter crash, then replaced by a loyalist. Iran is diplomatically isolated, economically struggling, and internally divided. Its axis of resistance, allies in Lebanon, Hezbollah, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen, is under heavy pressure from Israel and the US. Iran also accelerated nuclear enrichment, raising fears of a military confrontation. Yet Iran's ancient civilization endures, its poetry, art, architecture, and science. The 5,000-year journey from Cyrus to Khamenei is a story of resilience, creativity, and the enduring weight of history.